So it's not the perfect accuracy, but the old luggage scale gives you an idea of total pack weight. This is everything: food, water, shell, like everything I'm taking literally. And I guess probably coming around 9. Okay, 8.8 kgs. So slightly heavier than my usual winter load, but I am taking an extra camera and a few different bits. So yeah, the main thing is let's get out there. We can see obviously the snow from the windows. When you're sitting on your laptop having to work away all day, there's nothing worse when you know the conditions are good and you just want to get out the door. So let's get out and get up those hills. Windier than the forecast was saying. So yeah, we're just heading up. Obviously short on time because I've come out after work, so yeah, we don't have hours, but we'll get up there. So we came up from down here. As you can see, it's a beautiful evening. Just to show you where we've been coming up. Obviously what we've got is we've got a little bit of snow, a decent little bit, varying depths as you come up, but it's sitting on top of very boggy ground. And so what you get is a scenario where your foot is constantly sinking through that initial bit of snow, because although it's wind blasted here, it's only a very, very fine crust, so it's not enough to resist any of your pressure on it. So you're falling through into the boggy ground underneath, which is then very slippery. So it becomes really slow to move on ground like this, and you just have to factor in that you're often going to have to take into account the ground underneath the snow. You're not just walking on the snow. It's not like lovely snow, you just got great traction stepping into it. You're hitting the bog underneath and your feet will often slip. So when I'm coming up some of these steeper bits, I'm just side footing up just to make sure that I'm not sliding over and falling on my arse. It's not a dangerous scenario in that I'm not going to fall off and go anywhere, because we're still coming up a reasonably sort of nothing intense in terms of the slope here. But I don't want to be falling over and getting wet and all the rest of it. This is not fun, so you just take a little bit more care. You might think, oh, I could put on my micro spikes or my micro crampons, but what you'll find is with this kind of wet snow, all that would happen is that you'll get your the metal on the crampons themselves just balling up massively, because most micro crampons and micro spikes don't have any sort of skin to them, anti-balling skin. So you'll just end up with giant clump feet, you know, massive clumps of snow all over them. But you've either then got to be knocking off the whole time, which is very annoying, or you're going to end up being just unwieldy and having to take them off. So you could wear full crampons if you've got anti-balling spikes on them, or plates, which generally they will, but you're going to find those are annoying to walk on a hill like this in as well. It's going to slow your progress to some degree wearing full crampons on this, where they're completely unnecessary. So yeah, it's one of those where it's just the kind of ground where it's challenging and it slows you down. Well, we've been moving at a fairly decent pace, pretty consistently. So we are 7.14 kilometers in, and we've done in total 782 meters of elevation gain on the route, and it's taken us an hour and 53 minutes. So yeah, we've been moving pretty well considering we've got snow depth and the ground unforgiving when it comes to energy sapping. but it's very nice. We've dropped out the wind here. So the forecast did say that the wind is dropping off in general. When I was coming up, it was really gusting some, but I haven't measured it yet. I will at some point once we're up. I'll have a look. I've just been cracking on because we're, as usual, fighting the sunset. So yeah, we've maybe got 15 minutes until sunset itself, and then we'll obviously have a little bit of light after that. The sky's pretty clear, should be clear tonight, so we should have a bit of light hanging around, especially with all the snow reflecting some light. Stunning though. I'll flip this around and show you over towards the Araka Hills. Looking back behind me over towards Loch Eck and those hills out that way. It's looking all the way back out towards Beinn Bheula that way. And then in towards here, you've got various different local Corbetts. So Beinn Bheula is just here. And you've got sort of Emer in the distance as well. And the Brack, Knoch Conich here. All sorts. Cracking hills. Look at that view. She's a pretty one. Woo! Coming up through here now, over and then up some more towards the summit. You can see the sun's pretty much set. But well, I think we've got like 3 minutes until sunset, maybe 2. Some nice pink clouds. Beautiful. Back down Loch Eck in the distance. We've got plenty of light still around at the moment, so we'll keep making our way up here. It's icy there, isn't it? Coming up through here. Woo! That's a slog. That's a real slog. Whew. Just need to figure out where we want to pitch now. Just going to pitch up here to go somewhere up. 960 metres of ascent, 8.01 kilometres, 2 hours 23 minutes. It's not bad considering the conditions. It's getting pretty tiring on the legs towards the end there, going up those last 100 metres. It's all powdery. It really saps the energy out of you. But yeah, I don't know where we should pitch. If we should pitch just back up on this one, or whether we should come down. There's this little Bheula between, not even a Bheula, it's a col really, between the two summits. And we can obviously pitch down in here, but kind of got this wind coming in through, so I don't know. Guess we'll figure it out, guys. Or we could go up and pitch on the true summit just up here. It's really lovely and flat up there. Obviously we're going to be exposed up there, but should be okay. Well, we're all pitched up. The temperature with the wind chill was making things challenging when I was getting the tent up. Obviously it was fairly windy, and right up on the summit here, up 760 odd meters, really exposed, cold wind, and stopped and got down jacket on to keep warm. Just put it straight on over my shell. But yeah, it's the old hands. I kept on pretty thin gloves because I wanted dexterity to try and get it done quickly, knowing my hands would get cold, and they did. But yeah, we got it up all right. Obviously, the main thing when you're putting any tent up, but with the Akto, you just have to ensure that as soon as you're taking the tent out, you're not letting go of it at any point, because the wind, obviously, when it's like 25 mile an hour like that, it'll easily blow it off the hillside. And then what I did is I just put the ice axe directly through one of the end guys and pushed it all the way to the ground, so it's not going anywhere. It can flap about, but it's not going anywhere. And then straight away I got the other snow pegs out, put them in pretty much on all the corners, even just loosely, middle pole through, and then, you know, tighten everything up, work from there basically. And yeah, it all went up fine, no problems. What I did is I got it up, you know, messily-ish, got kit in, jumped in out the wind, and just let my hands warm up a little bit, pulled a few bits of kit out, and then what I did is I went back out and tidied everything up, tightened and tensioned all the guy lines, made sure I was happy with where the pegging points were, everything's nice and firm. Yeah, it's always a good idea to double check when you're up in an exposed pitch, and just for peace of mind sometimes it's quite nice. But yeah, the 10mm pole is in here today, and you can feel the difference in the stability. I mean, this is a really good tent anyway, but the 10mm pole really makes a difference. It's surprising actually, you wouldn't think 1mm on a pole would do so much between the 9 and 10mm poles, but yeah, it does seem really, really good, so that's really positive. We're getting hit by the wind, buffeted over from this side, and wind speed at the moment, when I went out there and measured it a little while ago, you'll have seen on the video, or we can show it to you now, it was between 20 and 25 mile an hour wind speed, and the air temperature is about minus 2.1 to 2.5 degrees, and the wind chill, therefore the feels like with the wind chill is minus 11, so it's pretty chilly. Temperature's going to drop some more, probably not a lot more, maybe get down to minus 4 or so, air temperature. And the wind is actually supposed to drop off. It's not even supposed to be this windy right now, but that's Scottish mountains for you. The wind forecasts tend to be sometimes a little bit wrong. Pretty cool though, happy. It was tiring that last bit of hiking, but stunningly beautiful and just so nice to be out, even on a weekday. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we get really beautiful, relaxed morning tomorrow. The plan now is going to make some food because I'm pretty hungry. So I've got the gas in here in the quilt with me, warming up. And yeah, I'm going to get some water on the boil soon. Plenty of snow all around us, so didn't need to worry about bringing too much water up. We'll use a little bit that we've got and then add snow to it. Just, yep, make sure we've got enough that way. And got an audiobook, good times. It's like a Simon Scarrow, if you're a fan of historical fiction. I very much am. Then it's a really good one about the War of the Roses. So a really interesting period in English history, or British history. And yeah, it's a pretty cool one. It's a trilogy as well, so that's fun. So we'll have a little listen to some of that. One thing I was going to say on the talking of the 10mm poles is I picked up the Alak 2 from Hilleberg for me and Megs to use together, and we used it just the other weekend in the snow, and it seems like a very cool tent. But I really wanted to be able to use it in any conditions, or pretty much any conditions, so I picked up a set of 10mm poles for that as well, which is obviously an annoying extra expense, but pretty cool when you feel how stable it feels with the 10mm poles in it. So we haven't had it out yet with the 10mm poles, but I'm hoping we'll get a good test of that. No doubt we'll get a good test of that at some point soon, and hopefully that should give it that little bit of extra, or quite a lot of extra strength, because I think the material already, the Curlon even in the Red Label tents, is really strong. The only real potential weak point is in the poles, and they're very strong, but you know, if you're up in consistent gusts on a mountain, even, you know, 50-60 mile an hour all night long, can really take its toll on tent poles. Right, well, I've updated you. You've seen the temperatures. Time to get some snacks. We'll chat soon. And now we wait for the boil. And then we eat pasta and tomato sauce. I think my favourite dehydrated camping meal of all time. It is delicious. Decent amount of calories as well. Really, really good. Fave. And we've got some. These are good as well. Really tasty. Chickpeas, cappuccino and dark chocolate. Got a sweet selection. Some little M&S fizzy pursy thingies, vegan ones. They're real good. Some chocolate, very nice. And got a bar for the morning. And in here we've got coffee and tea and some Horlicks, I believe. And somewhere in here, on one of my side pockets, I got a little dram with. I decanted a little bit of Glen Scotia double cask, which is a little treat. So yeah, we'll give that a try shortly. Just check the temperature outside the tent, and it was minus 4.5, just coming up on minus 5. It was minus 4.8, I think it was actually. And you can see in the tent the difference. So I don't have the inner closed at the moment, and I've got the door quite open. You see this is all open. I'm pretty warm in my quilt and all the rest of it, no problem. But even inside the tent, around minus 2. So yeah, it's a reasonably chilly night. It's very clear out there, very beautifully clear. So yeah, about minus 5 out there, about minus 2 in here at the minute. It'll warm up once I close this inner up a bit. But we'll be toasty warm in the quilt anyway. Thought I'd have this little wee dram whilst I'm chilling out. Probably not long before I fall asleep, to be perfectly honest. But this is quite a nice little tipple. It's Glen Scotia, which are a distillery in Campbelltown. Not actually that far from here, down on the Kintyre Peninsula. And it's one of the smaller whiskey regions in Scotland. It's traditionally been a huge whiskey producer back sort of, I think, 80, 100 years ago. Was one of the biggest whiskey producing town in the whole of Scotland. But things changed, and for various reasons around, I think, overproduction and exports and all sorts of different things, that fell away. And there's only a few distilleries there now. The ones that come to mind are Glen Scotia and Springbank. They do some really nice stuff as well. And generally speaking, with the Campbelltown whiskies like this one, I find that they're quite a nice balance between what you would get, the sort of smoothness in a Speyside, with a little touch of peatiness that you would often find, obviously, in your Islers. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those. It's its own thing. like so many whiskies are individually, but with the region as well, it's its own thing, and it's pretty cool. It's quite a cool little whiskey region and a cool little place as well, Campbelltown. So yeah, this particular one I've had a few bottles of, and Slange. And I've always enjoyed it the times I've had it. Yeah, it sits nicely and nice little bit of fiery warmth. Nothing like it when it's -5 outside and you're on top of a mountain in Scotland, eh? Gotta have a bit of scotch. Yeah, it's nice to bring a dram again. I often don't bring a drink when I'm out, but I used to, for years, always try and have a little thing of whiskey with me. And when you're out wild camping in the Scottish hills, it does feel really good to have a little warmer, a little treat. So yeah, it's one I recommend to you guys. There's always so many different whiskies to try, but if you've not heard of it before, check it out. Glen Scotia. This particular one, their double cask, is not particularly expensive. It's not a dirt cheap whiskey, but you can pick up a bottle for around £36. So something a bit different. You don't often see people drinking it as much. It's not one of the big brands or anything, but they definitely do some cool stuff. So yeah, I'll finish this and leave you to it. Popping on some nice little toe warmers to go in there. So I've got one on that foot. Just opening this one up, pop it in on this foot here. Then that helps to warm everything up nicely, keep it warm rather. My feet are pretty warm at the moment, but as I start pottering about outside and doing some bits, taking some pictures and whatever else, it's nice to make sure they stay warm, and these last for ages, so popping these on. So we're melting a bit of snow there, so we can have some coffee this morning. That's the idea. Not looking like much outside at the moment. Add some more snow to this. So yeah, gonna have coffee and something to eat, and I'm hoping it's gonna clear up a little bit. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Whew. Brr. It's not too bad in the tent actually. Still pretty cold outside, minus a few degrees. Last I checked it was only about -2, but still pretty cold. And colder with the wind chill, but in the tent, well, it's a bit cooler now because I've opened things up and I was just sort of faffing about. But when I had the inner all closed and everything, it was, I think, around 4 degrees in here maybe, where my main heat was. So you can really create quite a nice little microclimate, don't you? Thawing out my little, these are very good, these Millionaire Shortbread Power Trek bars. Very nice. I'm just sort of taking it easy in the hope that the views open up and we get some beautiful mountain scenery all around us. At the moment though, I'll bring you out and show you, there's not much happening in the way of views. So I've just been really taking it slow this morning. It's 9:30 and been awake for quite a while, had coffee, breakfast, just been listening to an audiobook and just chilling out really. It's very peaceful. One of the best things about Corbett's as opposed to Munro's, and most hills as opposed to Munro's, is they're not very busy. No matter where you are, they tend to be much less busy, aside from a few. And this particular one as well, Often you don't really see anyone out here. I've been up and down this hill so many times between running and hiking over the last couple of years, and I think only on 2 occasions have I seen other people out on this hill. It's it's kind of remote, and it's not somewhere that gets a lot of foot traffic, so it's really nice. You know that you can just take it easy. I know that by having my tent up a little bit later, I'm not going to be interfering with anyone. You know, if it was a busy area, I'd be packing away early, but I know this time of year, especially these conditions, I can take it easy and just chill out. So yeah, I'll bring you out here and show you what it looks like anyway. Straight drop down here is very craggy. You got a good sheer couple of 100 meters pretty much down these areas. See, got this nice cornice, lots of snow build up here, and then we're pitched just back in over there. This is the summit plateau. There's the summit. It's a trig point on this summit. You can see it's all wind blasted. It's pretty chilly. Just hanging around waiting and hoping that the cloud that we're in goes and the views open up, but it's 11 minutes past 10 now, so at some point I need to kind of think about packing up and heading down. It's supposed to get windier later, so I mean, not the end of the world, but I'd rather walk down when it's only, I just checked actually, it's 15 mile an hour wind blowing solidly. We're just slightly down from it. It's coming over from the sort of southwest, I guess. And yeah, it's -2 degrees, -9 with the wind chill, so it's pretty chilly out there. So I thought what I'll do is I'll make a second and final coffee and see what happens. If we don't get any views at that point, then we'll get all this lot packed away, stick them boots on, and we'll head down that hill. If you haven't watched our recent video, our most recent video, the wild camping and hiking in winter tips and tricks, then definitely go check it out. This is one of them that I mentioned on there, and it works really well. If you've got a hand warmer, you warm your gas up, obviously, stick it in your quilt or in your pocket with you, and then just before you're about to put it on, you put your hand warmer at the bottom there, and then you light it, and you're going to get more consistent and longer gas flow. It just helps to heat the gas canister from the bottom. So it's a good little tip, guys. So it's pretty cool on this pack. There's this sleeve which you can either use like a closed cell foam mat to give it some structure, or you can just take your deflated inflatable mat, so this is a Neo Air X-Lite, and then pop it in there, and then you just kind of velcro it up and then do these clips up, and it has load lifters there as well. So I'll talk more about this pack at some point. It's by a company called Hanchor, that's Hanchor. But you can see I've got my sleeping stuff here, that's quilt, pillow, and my down socks basically in there. Then you've got the tent, the Akto's in there. Got the kitchen bits there, so all our cooking kitchen kit. That's our odds and sods, so that's our ditty bag with all our electronics and stuff in there. Some of them are in individual bags to some degree, but it's all in there to keep it together. And then over here, we've got poles, pole in this case, pegs, snow pegs and regular pegs, because I used a little bit of a mixture. And obviously we've got our ice axe over there. And in the back of the pack, we've got my shell layers, and we've got some micro crampons. Up front, I had a flask in here yesterday on the way up, but now I've got a camera in there. And on this side, I'll be popping in my phone. And yeah, we've got the Garmin InReach over here. So all packed pretty nicely. You can see the hip belt's pretty nice and wide. I think I'm going to get some hip belt pockets for this. I definitely am going to. So try that out as a setup as well. But that's that. So now what we're going to do is get all that lot in there. All the kit packed up. That was where we were. It's over here. So obviously, leave no trace. As always, you guys know, take everything with you. Make sure you've not left anything accidentally as well. Nothing worse. Forgetting some of your nice gear on the side of a mountain in the snow. Might never see that again. Looked like for a minute, it looked like we were going to have a break in the clouds. And like, it just looked like it was going to open up and we'd just get a little glimpse of the views, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. It kind of looked like it for a second and then it's gone again. So I don't know, I keep on hanging around, but I think I'm going to have to set off soon. It's starting to get cold. I've taken off my down jacket, put on my shell for hiking in, so I don't want to overheat too quickly. So yeah, I'll give it a couple more minutes, but that's the golden eagle I've seen up here before. Oh man, I can't make him out on this. He's absolutely huge. Drifting up there. So beautiful. I mean, what a day in the Highlands, huh? We came down from up there and up some more. Towards that loch and then down some more from there. So last night's wild camp spot was up there, over and up a little bit more, right on the summit plateau of this. It's called Beinn Bheula. I might not have mentioned the name, but I have in the past. It's a very nice Corbett. Well, I thought this was as good a time as any to wrap this video up. We've come down kind of the best bit of the route, really. Just dropping down now until we join the estate track a little ways down here, and then it's only about 4.5 kilometers along that back to home. So yeah, just want to say appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed the outing. We've got where we pitched up last night is up in the background there, just up in the clouds. Some really nice conditions, the kind of conditions we've been craving, and not just for a tiny period. It lasted all the way through the morning. We didn't wake up and it was all melting. If you've watched the last few videos of mine, you will have seen we've had a lot of that this year. So yeah, it was really nice to get out in some good conditions. And it's a shame we didn't get all those views this morning, but that's, you know, that's the way it goes. It's opened up beautifully down here anyway. But I wanted to know if there's any feedback from people. So if you guys want to see more of certain things or less of certain things, if you think our videos should be a little bit shorter or a bit longer, particularly the adventure ones, please let us know down in the comments. If there's particular things you want to know about the gear that I'm using, or the routes we're on, or anything at all, then please feel free to ask. Like, we always do respond to comments, and we appreciate people, you know, commenting, watching, subscribing. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has subscribed as well. We've just gone over 3,000 subscribers, which is amazing, and we hugely appreciate everyone who's taken the time to subscribe and watch our videos. On gear stuff, so far I'm really liking this pack from Hanchor called the Tufa. I'll give you guys more details on it. Obviously, once I've used it a lot more, then I'll do a review at some point. But initially it feels like it carries very nicely. It seems like the quality is impeccable, like really high quality, which is very cool. It's a pretty good size, 40 liters. I do need to get some hip belt pockets if I'm not going to use a chest pouch, because I carry a few bits that I like to have access to. So that'll be handy. But yeah, overall, so far, initial impressions are really positive, and the pockets that I got from them as well, like the phone and bottle pocket, are really nice quality too, really, really handy. So that's cool. There's so many different bits of gear I'm always using, I forget what to sort of tell you about. So if there's anything here you want to know about, or anything in my setup that you're interested in, then just ask and I'll tell you. And at some point soon, I'm going to do another pack breakdown, so show you all of the kind of most common gear I've been carrying this winter. So hopefully that'll be helpful for anyone that wants it. I almost forgot, but I didn't forget. Please do subscribe, like, leave comments on the videos. Check us out on Instagram at Outdoor Intrigue. We're always posting content on there. And yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy everything. So it's well worth hitting that subscribe button. All right, remember, didn't I?